What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. So looks like today is the day. We've got that Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett having a public full-blown meltdown, as it looks like her days in Congress are finally numbered after learning that the district that she represents in Texas has been completely wiped off the map with Texas's newest redistricting map. And I'm excited to get to this one, so we're gonna hop straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. I'm about to sign the law that creates the one big beautiful map that ensures fair representation in the United States Congress for Texans. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Speaker Burrows, Senator King, Representative Todd Hunter, Representative Cody Vasut, and all of the legislature who stayed in the Capitol and got this law to my desk. Texas is now more red in the United States Congress.
All right, you guys, let's get straight into this. We just seen Governor Greg Abbott sign it into law, the redistricting of Texas, and Jasmine Crockett is not happy to see that her district, Texas 30, that she represents, is no longer in sight. Looks like she'll be having to do a runoff between other Democrats. I've also heard her mentioning that she may be running for a Senate seat at this point, but it does not look good for Jasmine Crockett, and she's taking the X and she's absolutely losing it, throwing a temper tantrum. Let's look at what Jasmine Crockett had to say. She tweeted out just the other day saying X should have just a troller option in addition to a follower option. The number of you that literally are just trolls that wait for me to post so that you can drive my engagement numbers up and make sure that my posts are seen on this cesspool of an excuse for a platform that has gone out of its way to shadow ban my page is wild. Okay, lots to take in right there. It sounds like she's just upset with the world. She's coming after the trollers. She's coming after the X as a platform to say that she's been shadow banned and she's no one's seeing her post. This lady is all over the place as a result of the Texas's newest map or redistricting. She then continues on, guys. She does not stop there. She brings the kids into it and she says, and I want all of you to read this, or if you can't read, hopefully your kids can read this to you. What's the kids have to do with it is my thoughts. But she continues on saying, you are mentally ill and a grade A loser if you follow someone just because you want to troll them on social. You clearly were never liked in school and probably have no friends in real life. Oh my goodness, talk about an unhinged meltdown. We're seeing that all the pressure is finally getting to old Jasmine Crockett, but wait, she does not stop there. She continues on saying, I've got a long list of people I will never follow because I truly don't want to see anything they have to say, starting with anyone who considers himself to be MAGA. You have to ask yourself, God, what is wrong with me? And then pray he delivers you from your illness. Let us all say together, amen. Oh my, talk about the Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not even sure what Trump has to do with this, but somehow she's bringing MAGA into it and saying that we need to be prayed for, and we're suffering from some sort of illness is what she's alluding to. But the only illness that I'm seeing on display here is that Trump derangement syndrome, that TDS, from old Jasmine Crockett. And if you guys know Jasmine Crockett by now, we know that she did not stop at a flimsy X post. She took it to an interview, and we'll hop off into that coverage a little later in this video. But now we're seeing Democratic officials in states like California with Gavin Newsom attempt to get a little revenge to the redistricting of the congressional map in Texas by doing a little bit of redistricting of their own for the Dems. And now we're seeing other states, the GOP, the Republican leadership is not going to let this happen without speaking up. We're seeing states like Missouri and their leadership saying they're going to do redistricting in response to Gavin Newsom's redistricting, but this time for the Republicans.
We start tonight at 5 with breaking news. Missouri will officially enter the national redistricting debate. Governor Mike Kehoe announcing a special session this afternoon. KSHB 41 political reporter Charlie Keegan got the heads up on this yesterday, and he joins us from the newsroom with details. Charlie.
Governor Mike Kehoe is calling legislators back to Jefferson City on September 3rd, next Wednesday. He's asking them to redraw the boundaries of the state's congressional districts, creating a map that he calls the Missouri First map. Here's a closer look at how that map would impact the Kansas City area. You see, it puts the plaza in downtown Kansas City under Mark Alford's district. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver's district would then spread all the way out to the Lake of the Ozarks. It would even include a sliver of Columbia in mid-Missouri. Governor Mike Kehoe said these changes put Missouri first, and he explained the decision to do this in a post on X. Take a listen.
To ensure our districts and Constitution truly reflect Missouri values and put Missourians' priorities first.
Congressman Emanuel Cleaver put out a statement in the last half hour. He said he calls this an attempt at gerrymandering and said it does more than change district lines. He claims it will silence people's voices and deny representation.
So we're starting to see a sort of ripple effect across the nation. We've got Democrat-led states, Democratic officials saying that they'll redistrict in response to Texas's redistricting. And then we've got Republican-led states, Republican leadership saying, hey, if they can do it, guess what? We could do it 2 times better. And this is all leaving Jasmine Crockett very sad, sour, and bitter. We can see that just by her X post. But as promised on the front half, I'm going to now play that clip of Jasmine Crockett absolutely losing it in an interview in response to her essentially losing her congressional seat.
I think that you're going to see Texas ram it through because that's what Texas does, with no input whatsoever from the members. And when I say the members, I mean even the Republican members. This map was not created by the Republicans in the House. And so this is a map that was sent down from up in D.C. somewhere.
What do you think is going to happen with Congresswoman Julie Johnson? Because she's got a decision to make. Does she run in 32 under the new map if it's approved, which would become a Republican majority district? Or does she have to challenge Congressman Vesey, whose district would move solely in Dallas County?
Yeah, I think that we will hopefully work it out about who runs where. Obviously, both of them are now in Republican districts. No one currently resides in 30, and then I reside in 33. So I think it is a matter of kind of us talking about what's what, while also recognizing that because there is new territory, there also may be new contenders to come in. So, for me, I'm going to get to polling because I feel confident I can win wherever I run. I do, but ultimately, I'm trying to get a pulse on the district, right? So I ended up with 200,000 additional people into 30. They are all coming from Tarrant County. I know nothing about those 200,000 people. Whereas where I live, obviously about 200,000 of us are still where I currently live, along with a lot of the old 100 as well as a lot of the old 30, going all the way to that eastern portion, getting that Pleasant Grove, some of that got thrown into 32. So, it's about kind of, does Mark Vesey fit better into 30 now because it does have some Tarrant or not? And does Julie just kind of fit better at running in 33 than me? And is my district going to be okay with me running and being on this fixed government income and therefore not buying a home in the newly constructed 30? Obviously, I don't have to live there under federal rules.
Right.
But I mean, some people want somebody that lives in the district, but obviously the vast majority of this district I have represented without actually living in the portions that they've left in 30.
So if I hear you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're actually debating about whether to run in a different district than 30?
I'm debating about whether or not I would run where they put me, which is where I live. Yeah.
In 33?
In 33.
And what about the idea of just moving back into 30?
Again, on this fixed income that I am paid in Congress, the idea of actually buying a new home or getting it, we don't We don't get enough money. I mean, I'm being honest. And I know that some people may take issue with that because they talk about how much money we make. And I get it. It's not that we're obviously getting minimum wage. But by the time you talk about having I have a mortgage and I have an interest rate that is like 3%. Interest rates are not that low anymore, right? That's number one. Number two, so it's a matter of, oh, do you sell your home, then go somewhere else and get a higher interest rate? Like, there's all these variables. And as a single woman who has one income, who's not allowed to make outside income, there's a lot to be had there. I think I have a strong enough rapport with what is left in 30 that they trust me to be a strong advocate for these areas that I've already represented. I know nothing about this new 200,000. And so we are absolutely, I'm a data-driven girl. So we're gonna run the numbers. And then obviously I wanna talk to my colleagues and say what kind of makes sense so that at least hopefully two of us have the best shot at going back.
Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? That looked like a total panic setting in for old Jasmine Crockett, as it looks like the fate of her seat is at risk. It looks like she is no longer as a direct result of the redistricting. She no longer has that seat in Texas 30. It's completely wiped off the map for her, and it looks like she's over in Texas 33 now, which is a spot where she may potentially have to go into a runoff against another Democrat that she's been, running with. The same folks that fled the state of Texas. They're in such support of each other. Now they may have to run against and challenge each other into whoever will get that district. And it doesn't sound like Jasmine Crockett thinks she will fare well. But I want to bring up one thing that I noticed. You guys noticed there has been a change in tone and demeanor coming from Jasmine Crockett. What happened to old Representative Ratchet? I mean, it seems like every single time that she needs votes or she needs the public support, she goes into a whole different mode. She flips the switch. I just want to play a quick clip to remind us, or just jog our memory on who Jasmine Crockett has been portraying or cosplaying this entire time versus what we're seeing right now, a very well-spoken and articulate young lady.
Maybe because these people, they are crazy, because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things. Yeah, you ain't got to believe me. Just go Google. You'll find some of it. I'm telling you. And the wives is being messy and petty. They putting it in the divorce. I'm like, ooh, that's got to be true, because your lawyer would know that they going to lose it if they...
All right, just a little refresher. I'm sorry you had to bear with me right there on that clip. Barely could understand what she was saying, but I just noticed there is a night and day difference from Jasmine Crockett, the act that she's been putting on for these last couple of months versus what we're seeing now, that her seat has disappeared, is up and walked away. Jasmine Crockett is completely losing it. Actually, had to check on her social medias to see how she responded in addition to that tweet that we seen earlier, and it looks like she is completely going bonkers. She's devastated by this loss, and now she's resorting to posting tinfoil hat fake news, full-on conspiracy. I want you guys to see this so we can see right here. This is originally from a creator known as Brian Bays on X, and then Jasmine Crockett reposted it. And all he says is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But I want you guys to see the rant, the absolutely delusional rant this guy goes on. Blows my mind that Jasmine Crockett would actually retweet this in agreement, basically agreeing and saying that all this is true.
I'm about to prove to you that we're actually living in the purge, but that the only reason you don't think we're living in the purge is because it doesn't look exactly like it did in the movie. Let's go down the timeline. First, it is well documented that Trump has repeatedly talked about immigrants having bad genes and poisoning the blood of our country. He's also promoted this idea of the racehorse theory, which is this belief that superior genes create superior people. Now, this isn't just a racist rhetoric. This is literal eugenic thinking that historically led to forced sterilization and genocide. And they're not just talking about it, they're building the infrastructure for it. RFK Jr., who's the Secretary of Health now, has spent years spreading vaccine lies, calling COVID vaccines the deadliest ever made. And in June, he fired all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee and recently ousted the CDC director, who wouldn't go along with his anti-vax agenda. Also, 3 top CDC experts resigned rather than implementing his unscientific and dangerous demands. And he just dismantled the CDC's disease surveillance for foodborne illnesses, cutting monitoring for 6 dangerous pathogens like listeria. Now, when you combine cutting disease surveillance with promoting anti-vax misinformation and eugenic ideas about good and bad genes, the pattern becomes clear. This administration seems to believe in the survival of the fittest mentality, but the only difference is that they decide who's fit. We're already seeing the consequences with measles cases hitting a 20-year high, outbreaks of the plague, and literal zombie squirrels. Couple that with the one big bull bill that just passed, $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, $300 billion in cuts to food stamps. So let me connect the dots. They're cutting disease surveillance so we can't track outbreaks. They're promoting anti-vax misinformation and now literally taking away healthcare and food from the poorest Americans, forcing them deeper into poverty. This isn't fiscal responsibility, it's social engineering. When you combine eugenic rhetoric about genetic superiority with policies that systematically harm society's most vulnerable, the message is clear. They believe only the genetically superior deserve to survive and thrive. Oh yeah, and by the way, masked men and women are kidnapping people off the streets, pulling up to people's homes, causing distress, and ripping family and children apart.
All right, you guys. I want to remind you again, Jasmine Crockett is the one who is reposting and sharing this type of media. Absolutely, just because you're speaking fast doesn't mean you're telling the truth. And I've got a rule of thumb. My father used to tell me, watch out for those fast talkers. And that's why I like to kind of, walk you through it, get my point across in a natural manner. It just doesn't see, this is way too scripted and rehearsed the way this guy is speaking. Not to mention he's in far out la la land, the stuff that he is spewing on about. Just trying to glaze over points and trash the Trump administration. We've seen the great work that they've done. He said all this to say that folks are being kidnapped and disappeared off the streets in response to the mass deportation agenda that we've seen carried out by the Trump administration. He's trying to relate it to the movie. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but The Purge, it was kind of a hit film, but this is two different situations. One is very fictional versus one that's very real and factual. Folks that have invaded our country and not supposed to be here illegally, and now they're getting sent back to where they belong. But I once again want to just point out how lost Jasmine Crockett is. She has gone bonkers as a direct result of her losing her seat over there in Texas with the redistricting of her congressional map. Jasmine Crockett, I'm not even going to say I'm going to miss this. I can't wait to see the updates that come on this one with Jasmine Crockett. We're going to see her seriously trying to, reach and grab at straws, because she doesn't have anywhere else to go. This was her last step, her last effort with the Texas House Democrats fleeing the state of Texas, literally abandoning their posts, abandoning their districts in order to try to stop the redistricting of the congressional map. But they lost, and that finally passed. And now we're seeing Jasmine Crockett, maybe the end as we know it right here sooner than most would think. Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. Talk about losing it. We're seeing a Representative Ratchet, aka Jasmine Crockett, losing her mind and losing her House seat over there at the Texas House of Representatives. And Jasmine Crockett, this has been a long time coming. I'm not sure how she rose to this spot to begin with. We're seeing that she said that she was a DEI, so I guess I do know how she rose to her spot. She was hired based off of her race, not based off her merit or character. And that's never how you're supposed to rise to the spot or rise to great heights. And I can't wait to see the way this plays out. I'm sure there's going to be more, fallouts, meltdowns, and temper tantrums coming from the side of those loonies on the left in the months coming, because in 2026, Jasmine Crockett probably won't have a seat. We won't be speaking about her any longer. All of those, political stunts, attempts to get into the headlines are going to be over. Her rise to fame, and her 15 minutes of fame, it seems to be ending very soon, guys. But definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open, and I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this whole mess. Now we got Jasmine Crockett absolutely losing her stuff everywhere as we know it. Definitely hop in the comment section, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.